In this video, I'm going to show you how to take SVG files, which are scalable vector graphics, and turn them into 3D prints. This dog bone was an SVG file, and this lettering was a separate SVG file. So let me show you how to do this, and let's get started. You can find SVG files. If you have a Cricut, or you know somebody that has a Cricut, they use SVG files. So SVG files are all over the internet. This one I particularly found that dog kisses, my dog is family, cats are family, and puppy love forever. And I found another one that I used that shows, it says life is better with a dog. Now another place you can find them is on Etsy. I found some that were Ford Mustang. Obviously I like Ford Mustangs. $2.99. It looks like it comes with about 8 SVGs. These are pretty detailed. If you have a dog lover, here's a one for $1.45. Looks like it's about 30 or 40 SVG files. And then if you're into golf, here's one that looks like it's about 20 or 30 for $2.50. Now you can find free SVG files out there, but I didn't find any that kind of had this kind of detail in it. The simple dog bone was easy to get. All right, so let me show you how you do this in Bamboo. All right, so once you've opened Bamboo, and if you're using Elegoo, there's just a little bit of tweak. The wording is different, and I'll show you where that is. Basically over here, you're going to go back over here to where you have process. You have global and objects. Click on objects. You're going to see plate 1. You're going to right click that. It says add primitive. Add primitive, you got the cube, cylinder, sphere, cone, all the way down to the bottom you're going to see SVG. So I'm going to click on SVG, and I'm going to download the pet sayings. Now when it loads, back over here on objects, you're going to see 3 objects. And I click on those, it's going to highlight each one. Now one of these has the lettering. So part of it is just click on one that you think isn't it and delete it. Now if it isn't the right one, just go back up here to the top left and do undo. Or do the Control Z on it. So that was the right one. Here, let me do Control Z. If I picked this top one, hit delete, now it's just holes in it. So I know that's not the right one. Hit Control Z to undo it. So I know it's the bottom one now, so I'm going to delete that one. Now I have 2 layers left. If I click on 0, it's going to highlight all of them. And if I highlight number 2, it's got 2 little cutouts in there that I really don't need. And the reason I say that is if I drag it over, I can see them. I don't see where it adds any value to it, so I'm just going to get rid of it. And you're going to have to play around with it a little bit to be able to find out the ones that you want. Now this particular one came with 4 sayings. Life is better with a dog, crazy cat mom, cat hugger, dog mama. So I need to get rid of everything but life is better with a dog. If you think about it, I just need to, if I had paper and scissors, I'd just cut out life is better with a dog. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to select pet sayings over here. It's going to highlight everything. I'm going to go back up to my cut menu. And I'm going to rotate this. So I take this cutting plane and I rotate it 90 degrees. Remember, if I hold it towards the lines, it'll snap to the 90 degrees. Perform cut. Now I have 2 separate parts. And this is the one I want to keep. So if I click off the object, click this object here, and delete it. So I've cut that out. So now I've got to cut the bottom piece off here. So I'm going to perform another cut. This time I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to rotate the cutting plane 90 degrees. Remember to hover over the line, it'll snap. Now if I do it like 85, it's not going to matter because I'm not really cutting through any material. So I just, at 90 degrees, perform cut. And now I have 2 separate parts. And you'll see over here I have a little error warning, following objects are laid over the bounds. So you can see that this particular one is over bounds. So I'm going to click off of these to deselect. This is the one I want to keep. This one, I'm going to select it and delete it. So now we have the SVG file as a raised, and you can see it's raised, and we'll talk about height here and how you set that. Don't worry about that for now. So now we need to add the bone. So I'm going to click on the plate, come back over here to plate where it says plate 1, right click, I'm going to add primitive from SVG. And it's going to pop up, and it's the dog bone is the SVG I'm using. And there's a dog bone. I get the warning again, it's off the plate, but that's all right. Now, here's something, it's at an angle, so I'm going to rotate this so it's easier to work with. Just to where it looks straight. And you can use your grid lines down here to line it up. Now I'm going to print this in black with white lettering, but in the meantime I want to just change all the filament to my generic PETG, so it's all the same color. All right, now if I drag this over top of it, it doesn't really fit. You can see it overhangs a little bit. So I need to resize the bone or resize the lettering so that'll fit. And this is where you come in, you can either shrink the lettering or increase the size of the dog bone. This is, as I came out with, it's probably pretty big. You can shrink, if I shrink the lettering, I could have fitted on the smaller bone. But what I did was enlarge the bone so that the lettering fits on it. So I'm going to come over here to the dog bone, right click it, excuse me, come over to the bone, and I'm going to resize it. Up here at the top, I've got the zoom. So now I can stretch it. If I want to stretch it just in the Y direction to where it fits, and you see right down here where it's still sticking out a little bit, stretch it this way until it fits. Just move it down a little bit to where it's covering it. Okay. Oh, I still see a little piece up here. So I'm going to click on the dog bone. I'm going to move that just a little bit. See if I can't. Oh, it needs to be a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go back to zoom. Let's just stretch it out just a little bit. And I'm still getting a warning over here that's out off the plate. So let's move. See if I can't get it on the plate. There we go. And then this, the pet seine, I need to move that up. And it looks like it's, nope, just a little bit more. Actually, is what we can do. Let's shrink this down just a touch so it fits. And now it fits. Now the problem is if I click on these two over here in objects, if I put them as one, what you're going to have to do is put them as one, but the problem is now they're both connected. But I need to get that lettering raised, so let's get it back on the plate, to the top of the surface. The way you're going to do that is when you assembly, when you hit merge, it's either merge or assemble. On Bamboo, it's merge. On the Elegoo, it's assemble. So you're going to assemble the two, but once you put the two parts together, they're attached. But in order to move one part from within the other, you're going to have to use the objects to select it. So I'm going to go to Pet Seine, and I'm going to move this. And I want to raise it to the top. Now, let me do something here. If I don't merge it, it's going to pop it right back to the bottom. So you have to, once you do the assembly, you have to identify what you want moved. Okay, so I can actually raise this above, way above the part. It's going to get you an error. There's printing over error. So basically, I'm just going to nudge this down into the top. You don't have to be specific on sizes. But now you can see the lettering is sticking out. Life is better with a dog. Now you can go ahead and play with moving this around. You can add the cavities for magnets. I put 4 on this one. I showed you how to do that in a previous video with the Darth Vader and the dragon, and how to put voids. If you wanted to put on a wall, I'd use something like command strips, something that's going to come off the wall. These things are really light, and I'll show you when I slice it how many grams it is. So now I want to paint it. Now there's a couple of ways of painting this. When I click on it, I'm going to come up here and hit paint. Now I can either paint, I'm going to paint it white. I can paint by fill, I can paint by shapes, I can paint by or fill by triangle. I want to do it by layer, and there's a reason I want to do this, because if you have an AMS, it'll switch colors between the black and the white and finish up with the white. If you have an Elegoo that's single filament, put a pause in there when it stops the black, and then change out the black for the white filament. So that'll give you your white print on the black background. And it doesn't have to be white on black. You can use blue on yellow, any colors. You got a team sport, something like that, use those colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with white. I'm going to height range. And if I turn this to the side, you're going to see a line up here. And that's where it's going to change colors. Now if I do it here, the top of it's going to all be white. I just want the bottom of the lettering, so I'm just going to take it up until all I see is the letters right there and click on it. All right, and there we have it. I'm going to hit slice plate. Once I slice the plate, you can see the total model, filament number 1, filament number 3, and then the total. The total is 112 grams, which is pretty light. So I'm not worried about using like double-sided tape. Now if I come over here to my layers, it's slicing. As I go down and drag it, there's the hollow part for the dog bones. Keep pulling my slice down, and you're going to see where it goes from black to white. Now if you have a single filament and you want to change the colors, change the filament, you're going to right click and add a pause. When you get to that pause, change it from the black to the white. And if you have single filament, you don't even have to tell it to paint it. You just pause it, swap out the filaments, and that layer will be whatever color that you load into it. So project to do, pretty quick and easy, using SVGs, which there's tons of them on the internet. Go out there and find some SVGs, find out what your favorite hobby is, what your favorite sport is. I got plenty more of these videos coming. Thanks for watching.